Right. Hi everyone, back again. Get your game face on, Gordon. Game face. Okay. Hi everyone. So today we're going to cover the engineered cleansing space. The debate, the argument, I don't like it. Why does Vijay keep doing it? Why does Vijay keep doing it, Carol? Carol, you are a dentist. Why does Vijay insist on the engineered cleansing space, Carol?
That is absolute necessary.
Ooh, you say necessary like it's the difference between something working and something not working.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That's perfectly true.
When you sign up with us, and I'm just going to say this out loud, okay? You have to deal with the fussiest human you'll ever meet. Me. And I'm surrounded by other fussy humans. You're a fussy bugger, aren't you? And so are you, right? Carol's part of our planning team. They're all dentists. And it's amazing how particular you've become. You're all incredibly fussy. I'm very proud of that because I think I put that into you. So let's talk more about why in all of dentistry, including natural teeth, there has to be space. Why? You tell me. What do they teach you at your university?
Nature already created space and...
Correct. So nature put it there for a reason.
Yeah.
What was that reason?
Cleansing, yeah.
For which magical ingredient that we have in our mouth mainly?
Saliva.
Saliva. So what we're going to do today, and this isn't slighting other people, but this is stuff that's readily available on the internet. It gets posted, it turns up on my feed. I look at this kind of stuff. I'm not blaming anybody, but I just get annoyed because I just think, wait a minute, there are clinical rules in place for a reason. We can't just make shit up. We just have to follow the clinical rules, and the clinical rules exist because it's about longevity and predictability and things working as best as it can with what the body does. Now, what the body does in the mouth is it basically pumps out saliva 24 hours a day. The only people who've got a truly dry mouth are dead people. Everyone living can have quite a dry mouth, but it's never dry, is it? Have you ever met anyone with a mouth like the Sahara Desert?
No.
Because I've never met one. Right, okay. So you might have less saliva, but you definitely have saliva. And saliva is the ultimate mouthwash because it's the only mouthwash that's produced by your body containing your antibodies and is actually designed to maintain the bacterial balance in your mouth. All the other stuff, I mean, is it possible that Colgate, who do you work for? Unilever.
Yeah.
Is it possible that Unilever can come up with some green shit in a bottle that's better than what your body actually produces for £3?
No, really, no.
Yeah, but you sold that rubbish for years, didn't you?
Yeah.
You kept telling everybody, you'll rinse with this and you'll get a date on Tinder. Remember that?
Yeah.
Is that true, Carol, clinically?
No, not at
But promoting saliva and the ability for saliva to get to where the nasty bugs, the anaerobes, the bad ones, the ones who don't like oxygen and don't like saliva live, how important is that?
It's absolutely very important.
Which is why yours truly keeps going on about it and will never stop going on about it. I know some people go, oh, it's not flush against my gum. Oh, I'm getting food stuck. We got food stuck with your own teeth. But miraculously, the meal you had when you were 21 wasn't there even when you were 22. Managed to find a way out. It always does. And saliva is also an enzyme, which means it breaks this food down even if it is stuck. So people are confusing mechanical cleaning with what saliva, the enzyme, antibody-rich enzyme, liquid, which can get into more nooks and crannies than your toothbrush could in 1 trillion years.
Yep.
Correct. Is everything I'm saying written in textbooks? In every textbook, in every corner of the world,
Yep.
at dental schools, yes? That's what I thought, because I remember it. I thought I was dreaming it, but I checked, and it's definitely there. So here is a case, okay? So I'm going to stand up for this. But here is a case that was done somewhere else. Okay, it was on Facebook. So that is a base level zirconia prosthesis when it comes out of the oven after they've cooked it. So they've milled it and then they've cooked it, and it looks like that. Here is when it has had the gum part painted. So it's either in composite or ceramics or whatever they choose to use. And here it is fitted in the mouth. Now, if we forget about what it looks like for a second, and we just focus on this area here, which is the interface to natural tissue, guaranteed a few things, definitely. Will foodstuffs get under there?
Yeah, definitely.
How is this patient supposed to clean it out? Let's forget about the water irrigator immediately. Water flosser, forget it, no chance, not in a month of Sundays. What about this wonderful thing called floss? And even better, the one that came from Krypton. It's called Super Floss. So it's a piece of plastic, about that long, flexible, and then it's got this furry like pipe cleaner. And you're supposed to thread it through and drag it through the other side. And have you ever watched a patient doing it?
No.
I have. It's hilarious. For me, not for them. For them, it's a bloody nightmare. Because it's like, am I doing it right? Okay. And I know there's a lot of advice. Go do that, go do this, go do that. I prefer to engineer it simpler and work to the original principles of Professor Brannemark, who gave us the wonderful world of implantology. And he didn't start with single implants. He started with full mouth rehab in 1962. Single implants came a long time after that. Here is a case from another clinic, okay? The name of the clinic is irrelevant. It's the principles that we're talking about. This patient has no teeth at the top, have some crowns down here. That's a crown that's been lost. There's decay under the crown. It all needs to go, basically. It just needs to be done again. How many of these do we see every day?
Many.
And here's what's been done. Now, on the face of it, oh, pretty picture, nice. Where's the cleansing go?
That's one.
If I did that to you, you'd probably already be having gum infections by now. It's been a year. Have you had any gum infections?
No.
That's because there's an engineered cleansing gap, Gordon. That's the point. It's not, oh, I'm getting food stuck. You get food stuck with teeth, without teeth, dentures, whatever. That's not the point. The point is this. These things are designed to be cleansable easily. Cleanse you must, because the mouth is the gateway to the body for all food. And food, when it's chewed and it's pulverized with every single texture and stickiness known under the sun, sometimes it's going to get stuck. Have you ever seen a patient that had the same food stuck there a week later?
No.
Why not?
They somehow managed to take it out.
What, you mean with cups of tea, glass of water, maybe eat something else, bit of red wine? Because there's permanent movement in this environment. How can something stay stuck indefinitely when there is permanent movement in this environment? Tongue is moving, saliva is being produced, lips are moving, I'm going to have a drink, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do the other. So it's a permanently dynamic environment. But in this environment, with this particular prosthesis, I just don't know how this patient, two things, knows what's going on under here, unless, of course, the dentist removes this, but then how often? And you work with screws all the time. If we keep screwing them on and off, on and off, on and off, do we knacker the implants?
Of course.
And why would we do that?
Should not be.
Shouldn't do that. Right, okay. And there's no natural cleansing. And there's not enough prosthetic space, but we'll talk about that either later or on another podcast. Prosthetic space is important for prosthetic resistance. It's not a gap-filling exercise. It needs to be strong enough to be able to eat. And if you can't eat, and it's not strong enough, it will break. In my view, this is not only uncleansable, I'd want to see this again in 5 and 10 years' time to see how much of the superficial porcelain has chipped because there wasn't enough engineered space to begin with. And if I take those off underneath, I wonder what I'm going to find under there. It's going to be interesting. So this is a side view. Again, no bubbles. I like bubbles because bubbles tells me saliva is getting from one side to the other. Some people complain about, oh, I'm having mouth farts on the group. Your muscles will adapt, but it's such a good sign because I know that saliva is getting from one side to the other, which is what we want. So we can look at it from another point of view. Okay, this is another one that was posted. Again, not 21D jobs, just making a point. Broken down teeth, rebuilt. Where's the cleansing gap? Don't see it. I think I posted this case the other day. This was the X-ray. What is this, Carol?
My God.
By putting this many implants in, do you know how much bone you must have removed to put this many implants in? It's like having 100 nails in that wall, but to put the 100 nails in, I have to remove that much wall. How are the nails staying in? And, you know this, with that kind of spacing, how can you effectively clean in between them? The most critical areas, these are called the transmucosal connections, and they go all the way to bone. How do we clean them?
It's not possible.
Unless, of course, out of the 24 hours you have in a day, you mainly drink water and spend 12 hours cleaning them. I think I posted on the group what happened to this patient. It is horrific. Okay, this is another case that somebody posted about. I'm not even going to talk about whether clinical parameters are anatomically correct for the face. That's a secondary issue. But I think what was really astonishing to me, how'd you clean that? How? So the toothbrush will vibrate on the outside. That'll get rid of a little bit. Will a water flosser work here? So then you go threading underneath it with floss, and then you try and drag it. I don't know how you drag it along. That's a bit of a nightmare. This is a side view. Okay, it's filled a gap. Okay, it's better than what he had. But is it as good as it could have been? I'm talking about biological parameters. Elimination, not only elimination of disease, but never allowing it to come back. What do you think? What would happen here if somebody planned this? Well, I'd see it.
You know?
And that would be a very bad day for them. Right, okay. Let's keep going. Okay. This, actually, is quite a good case. But we still have the same problem. So can you see the little dark triangles? So they've engineered the space. But the thing is, that gum isn't going to stay scalloped like that. So what's going to happen, because I've got first-hand experience of this, to keep the scallop, to keep the scallop, can you guys see this as I'm drawing? Can you see it? To keep this scallop of the gum, yeah, what you need underneath it is you need peaks and troughs of bone, like this, yeah, and you need a tooth that's got something called a periodontal ligament attached to it. And that movement of the periodontal ligament stimulates the bone and it gives us this peak and trough, which keeps the peak and trough. So this is on the day of fitting. But in about 2 years, I think, it'll become that. Yep. And then by 10 years, I've seen these go to that. Because there's nothing under there and it always becomes flat. Do you know how? Tell me a single person you've ever seen who's got no teeth at all that's got scalloped gum.
I haven't seen it.
This person's got no teeth at all.
Mm-hmm.
What they have is an illusion. And the illusion is We've got some implants and we're pretending today. But that's going to happen in under 5 years, and that's going to happen in 10 years. And then we're going to have to change the prosthetic with a whole new bridge. And then we're going to try and push it again. Guess what's going to happen in the next 10 years? Put my hands up. I did this in 1999. Have a wild guess what I learned by 2009. Yeah. Put them all right at my expense. Because I was told. If you look at the general clinical literature, the vast majority are corrected with the kind of prosthetics that we use, which are called FP3. FP3 prosthetics are used to re-establish not just the tooth part, but also create artificial gum, because artificial gum does not shrink. That keeps the overall architecture in the smile line looking like you. And then what goes on above is actually determined by the design. So I'm going to show you that. So this is another one. Okay, another one with no cleansing space from some other group. I hate all this. You can't clean it. It's not possible. So it might look pretty on a picture. Now this is 21D work. When we take our prosthetics off, this is what we want it to look like. Okay, credit where credit's due. This is about 6 months worth of soft tissue maturation. From a clinical point of view, if I was to define the chronology of periodontal disease establishment in a human being from the age of 0 to 55, in terms of periodontal disease load, from your understanding, what age is their mouth? Forget about the rest of their body.
Looks really healthy, so.
An 8-year-old? 9-year-old?
Kids.
See, the rest of you is falling to bits, but your mouth is a child. Gordon.
Yeah.
How cool is that? This is what we want. So there's key principles here. One of them, the reason it's not red, is because nothing is compressing the tissue. The other one is the spacing. What's your standard?
4 mm.
No, spacing between the implants.
10 mm.
10 millimeters, 1 centimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And in your experience, how many cases have you planned? 1,000? Okay, in that 1,000 cases, when you followed that rule of 1 centimeter spacing, how many have you had to do again?
0.
0. I like that a lot. So this space can't be any less. In your planning, few things. How many people can you do this on?
I cannot do.
Okay, why?
Because it will get infected.
And what's up here? The sinuses.
Yeah. I cannot.
Bone grafting.
We are not doing it.
Why do we need it?
We don't need it. We have enough space.
In the vast, I mean, we're talking very low single digit. I think I've recommended last year for 2 patients that they needed to investigate not bone grafting, block grafting, because they had that little left. So taking a chunk of bone from here or the side of the jaw and plating it in here. But the rest of them, you sit in planning all the time. How many of you is there? 6? 6 of you. Tell me, when was the last time inside that planning room you sat there and you went, we need bone grafting?
Mm-hmm. No.
No. Right. So that's a bad idea. This like 95% of the people we treat?
Yes, definitely.
Or 3, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we put right at the back pterygoid implants. That's people who are having things like either 3-day protocol or we put them as contingency. We don't always need them, but we like them to be there. And they're a million miles away from the front ones. So we're not crowding them and bunching them like this. Yeah? That's what we want to see. To achieve that, we have our prosthetic, which is the veneer and the bar. So we use plate technology this is yet another one of 21D's innovations. And actually, it's everybody in the world, every clinician in the world. How simple is this?
It's very simple.
Very simple. And that's why we use it, because it's super, 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 super simple to deal with. So the plate goes straight over the implants. And that's what we expect to see underneath. And there's another plate. And then the veneers screw onto the plates. But the most important area of all for us is here. There. That bit. Why? Because that is the biological interface. That's where prosthetic meets biology. That is our engineered cleansing space, and we engineer it depending on the start disease level of the patient. So some patients turn up with a hell of a lot of disease, very active, very aggressive, plus they're taking a load of medication, plus their general health isn't good. So we give them a bigger engineered cleansing space. We're calculating how easy do we want to make it for this person long term, for their body to be the primary maintainer of the mouth and not them with the toothbrushes and the gadgets and all that stuff. Because here's another reality. My mum, she's 85. Arthritis. She struggles to grip. You know, it's just a reality. It can happen. So what's she supposed to do? Get a butler? There are no butler toothbrush services. I checked. Doesn't exist. So you have to engineer it now, because I'm assuming this patient is still going to be around at 85, and God knows what state their health is going to be in, but I want to give their body every chance possible to maintain this. So let's keep going. So you can see it from the side view. Super hygienic, super polished titanium bar, totally biocompatible. We know this because your implants are in your body. They're made of exactly the same material. Super biocompatible. Brilliant. Great. It's what we want. Then we move to the other side. Same again. Super biocompatible. We know that. Your body likes titanium, so we use it for the base. And there it is. That's what everybody goes on about. Well, for all of you, you're all interested in this. For me and the rest of my clinical team, we're interested in the foundation, because if the foundation goes south, that smile's going with it. And we're not going to do that. Here's another one. There's another plate. That's everything screwed together. Sorry, am I in your way? I am, aren't I? Sorry, I'll sit down. So, sorry, I'll go back. So there's another plate. Beautiful gum health. I think this is about a 1 millimetre off tissue. And then this is veneer screwed onto the bar, totally interchangeable. That's what it looks like in the mouth. Everybody's delighted. Here's another one. That's what it looks like in the mouth. And I'm going to play you a video that we've made of cleansing space. Space within the oral cavity naturally allows the removal of bacteria and damaged biofilm. This is crucial to understand. So cleansing spaces occur naturally in between teeth. Nobody has natural teeth without gaps in between them. Those gaps generally for everybody actually increase with age. It's part of the physiological breakdown. It gets made even worse when we have periodontal disease, because that space is being created by the body to help saliva get to the nooks and crannies that your toothbrush definitely isn't reaching. And ultimately, by the time we get to stage 3 periodontal disease, it's a losing battle, unless, of course, somebody does apically repositioned flaps, and, you know, you're seeing a hygienist every 2 weeks. You might as well be dating them, right? So really, it's important to understand that this is the principle that we work to. And this kind of prosthetic is the most widely used prosthetic for full jaw rehabilitation on planet Earth for a reason. There wouldn't be tens of thousands of dentists around the world that prescribe FP3 prosthetics if they weren't the ones we knew work the best. And that's what we do. So we don't do those one that looks like magically growing out of the gum like FP1. FP1 can be done, but case selection is so strict and very, 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 very few people, in my opinion, fit the clinical direct criteria to do FP1. You cannot treat the masses with FP1. That is my view. I've never seen it in 27 years. Our cleansing spaces and the setup allow for us to irrigate clearly. And no, it doesn't cause, food's getting stuck, but it's super cleansable. And it just pretty much cleans itself. So we really, really, really need to stop being paranoid about the cleansing space. Oh, is the gap too big? Oh, is the gap too small? Well, the titanium bar never moves. Imagine that's the titanium bar. Here is your gum. I guarantee you, if I scan your gum every single month for the rest of your life, I'll see this one day, that another day, this another day, that another day. Is gum tissue dynamic?
Yeah.
Or is it made out of concrete? Is it a living thing? Name me one piece of the body that while it's alive, the cells do not remodel, even for 1 second.
No, none.
So we're permanently remodeling all the time. How sensitive as an environment is the mouth compared to other parts of the body?
It's very sensitive. Yeah.
How abused is the mouth by the garbage we put in compared to any other part of the body?
And that's the truth.
Right, okay. We're also talking about, I read this somewhere actually, 660 plus or minus 270 chews per meal, which means 3 of them a day. It's nearly 2,000 chews per meal. Name me another part of the body that goes through that level of grief and has got such delicate architecture. Don't say the legs. Have you seen the size of them? They're huge. And the cartilages on them and the shock absorber, they're huge. We haven't got that luxury. This is tiny compared to this leg. So we've got to engineer all this stuff in now. And the most important part is the body can take care of it by itself. You taking care of it, how can I put this in a nice way? Everybody I see started off in life at some point with biologically great. Yes? Okay, that is priceless. Then it all goes south, which is going to happen. There's nearly 1 billion people in the world, according to some stats I read from the WHO, who need this treatment. What? They all don't know which end of a toothbrush goes in their mouth? Or is it just one of these degenerative diseases like hip replacements? Do we go around blaming people who have hip replacements? Oh, you shouldn't have jumped up and down that much when you were 25. Well, doesn't make any sense. So it's going to happen. When it happens, and we put you into the next state, and a lot of you have so much history of repeat visits to the dentists, which you all tell us you hate with a passion. So why wouldn't you want something that's engineered to pretty much take care of itself so you don't have to see us every 2 weeks and you only come and see us every 12 months, mainly for us to go, everything looks great, bugger off. Yes, is that the dream? But are we doing it, Carol?
We are doing it.
What about you? Trouble-free motoring for the last 12 months?
Yep.
Pretty sure? You're not just saying it, are you?
No. No issues, no nothing. I haven't seen my dentist for 12 months. No hygienist anymore.
Now, hygienist, how often was the hygiene appointment?
Every 2 or 3 months.
2 or 3 months?
Yeah, for years.
For years?
Yep.
Right. Don't you miss it?
Not really.
No. Christmas cards? No? No? They're all right.
Maybe she's
They're a
Mrs.
good
May.
bunch.
I don't know.
They're all right. They're a good bunch. They're doing the best with what they've got left. But when we move into this state, we want to make maintenance, home maintenance and annual maintenance as simple as possible. It's a bit like servicing a car. Do you want to take it every 12 months so they need to do a new engine rebuild? Or do you want to take it every 12 months and they go, everything's running really fine, go away? And you feel shortchanged if we don't find anything wrong, because that would be weird. Surely you go to the doctor for them to tell you you're fine, not to tell you you're sick, right? It's not what you want to go to the doctor. It's the same stuff with me, which means that we are engineering that from the beginning now, while everyone else is going about, what shade is it? Is it B1? Is it A1? My preferred shade is called I don't give a shit. It's whatever belongs on your face. That's my preferred shade for everybody, if I'm honest. What I'm interested in is, have I eliminated disease, and is it going to stay that way by itself? I used to have this debate with my MSc students. The coma patient. Mm-hmm. A patient who is now in a coma. What about them? If they've got my prosthetics in their mouth and they're in a coma, I know that nurses do not brush the teeth. I've known a lot of nurses in my time. They'll clean every other orifice. That one, for some reason, they won't brush the teeth. They'll clean everything else, but not that one. So I know that's not happening. If the body takes care of itself, no issues. Fine. That's why we have this kind of stuff. The engineered cleansing space. So sorry to harp on about it. Sorry that it annoys some of you. It's bigger than I'd like it to be. It's like this. Yeah, sorry. Don't come here. There are, as you can tell from the photographs I put up before, there are plenty of other places who will put that seal, press, whatever. Just don't ask us to do it, because it's never going to happen in a month of Sundays. I think I posted the other day. One of the things that I definitely have to do is protect patients sometimes from their own ideas. You're not buying a commodity. You're asking me to work out the best way forward for you. And we do, don't we, Carol? Yeah. And it's not negotiable, because we've spent way too much time working out what is favorable for your body, so it will not destroy again what it already destroyed something once before. Because nobody turns up to us who were congenitally had no teeth from their birth. They've all been through that horrific process of tooth loss and toothache and tooth pain and infections and this, that, and the other. Yeah, we're going to do everything humanly possible to make sure that doesn't happen again, which is why, some people get upset. Oh, why can't I have it like this? Yeah, because your body says no. It's really simple. We're not saying no. Your body says, do not do that. And we have to listen to your body, because it's for your own benefit in the long run. Right, enough of that. So that's my little thing about engineered cleansing plates. Apparently you have some FAQs for me.
Yeah, I have some.
Is this correct?
I have some questions, yeah.
Yeah.
Cleansing spaces, somebody asked why somebody would have 0.5 millimetre and somebody would have 3 millimetre.
That is set by your body. So we set a standard 3 millimetre platform up from where the implant heads are. Your gum is normally anywhere from 3 to 1 millimetre thick, which it decides. It's called biotype. And then you will have fluctuations in that over time, because, as I said, your entire body is dynamic. So as an example, the skin here on my hand, this is not the same skin I had when I was 14. This isn't even the same skin I had last week, is it? So it's remodeling. In the mouth, it's the same. I actually want, if it was up to me, I'd have the gap that big. But you lot will go ballistic. So I'm going to meet you halfway and go 0.5 to 3 millimetres, and that's the end of that. And where it is in that range, 0.53, I'm only making the bar. You and your body are in control of your own gum, and it's just going to fluctuate. I can't be getting the blame for what your body is deciding is for you. Just no.
I have a question about what is the difference between all-on-4 versus all-on-6 for longevity and patient safety? Is one better than the other?
No. Okay, this nonsense. I've heard this my whole life, and it's ridiculous. Okay, let me go over this. Okay, just fine. We'll go over this. Okay. So there's many things at play. First thing at play, let's deal with the biology. How could it be possible that drilling out 6 lots of bone and putting 6 dead titanium screws in, how could it possibly be better for your body to have less of your healthy stuff? Because remember, we can't put implants into unhealthy bone, right? How could it be better for you? That's ridiculous. You don't need these. Second thing, mechanically, when you have a spread here of over 40 millimeters, then you can always put 12 teeth. It's called cantilever mechanics, and there are rules and sciences behind it. For example, the distance between these two here, you can have 1.5 times that length here, 1.5. Complex issue, okay? Third thing, people with fixed prosthetics do not chew like they chew with their own teeth. They develop something called adapted occlusion to the new reality. Easy way to understand this: every single one of you that was given a denture at some point, you all know this. You learned to chew differently. This is called adapted occlusion. You will do exactly the same in any prosthetic state because they're not your teeth anymore. It's prosthetic state. Why do you need why do you need to remove 6 lots of bone? Now, sometimes, and people shouldn't get confused, sometimes we put additional implants in this area here called the pterygoid. And we do this if we have 3 implants at the front in less than a 40 millimeter span. We add these at the back, not necessarily because we're going to use them, but because we're contingency planning the patient. Or sometimes if that span is less than 40 millimeters, then I'll use them because I've controlled my cantilever flexing. And the mouth is like a nutcracker. So the highest forces are at the back. So sometimes if that span is less than 40 millimeters, they will automatically plan for the pterygoids. It's not always possible. I've been doing pterygoids since 2007. Everybody's talking to me today about pterygoids like it's something new. And I'm like, no, it's not. And it's not a complex procedure at all. There's no. It's, you can either do it or you can't do it. You need it or you don't need it. It's all binary. It's not the number of screws. The minimum is 3. It's called a tripod. Right? Laws of mechanics. Or 4. They're all stable. We know this. What do you need 6 for? That is stable enough. Why? We want to preserve as much natural biology as possible and still have functionality. This all on 4, all on 6 bullshit. When you do enough, that's when you realize it's bullshit. Or, and I hate to say this, but it's true, it's widely used as a selling tool and a scaring tool to go, if you don't have 6, your head's going to explode. Now, you can buy into that bullshit if you want. I just don't. But I understand when you are a patient and you get conflicting advice, my answer is very simple. If you read the clinical paper that was written by Dr. Paolo Mallo and his colleagues from 1997, defining the all-on-4 protocol and why 4 implants is a good idea. If you read the data produced by Nova Biocare, which is one of the biggest implant companies in the world, about another solution called Trefoil, which was 3 implants. If you go even further back in history to 1985, when Professor Brannemark defined the Toronto Bridge on 4 implants, you will see that the all-on-6 is a new creation. Yeah, I know people will argue it. I just want to see the empirical scientific advice. I don't do opinions. I'm not buying into this opinion shit. Show me the science, show me the facts, show me the finite element analysis, show me the stress mechanics, show me that you're not using super, super, super rigid materials like zirconia, which cannot tolerate cantilevers, anywhere near as flexible materials like titanium PMMA. So it's not any one thing. I just don't buy it. It is hype. In my view, from the adverts I've seen, it's a selling tool. It's not a clinical necessity. Oh, I'm getting more implants. Or think of it another way. I'm having more of my body drilled away to be replaced with dead screws. That's how I'd be looking at it. How much is optimal? Not maximal, not minimal. How much do I need? How much do I need for my body to work? In our experience, how many of your cases are for? 95? 95? Mm-hmm. Okay. That says a lot, really, doesn't it? Are we shortchanging them on the number of implants? I said this to a patient, actually. I said, listen, you've been told all on 6. What if I put 4 in your mouth and you can have these 2? Put them anywhere you like. Put them in your ears. Make earrings. Cufflinks. That way, you've got all on 4 and 2. That is 6. You're just not going to have all on 6. But you can have the implants. If you feel like I'm shortchanging you, here, have the implants. Have them. I'm just not sticking them in your mouth. Anything else?
I like that.
Somebody actually made me a pair of cufflinks with implants. So I gave them because they were curious about the implants. So I gave them the implants. They actually made me a pair of cufflinks with implants. I mean, it looks weird, but it's proper handicraft. They did it in the garage and shit. Gave it to me as a present. It's really cool.
Okay, a bit different question.
Sure.
Why only surgeries in Warrington?
Why? Surgical hub principle. I've been doing this a long time. I started doing this in a general practice environment. Let's not dress this up. You're a dentist, right? You worked in general practice, right? Should you be doing this level of invasive surgery in a general practice environment? And if not, why not?
No.
Why?
This is an invasive procedure.
How invasive compared to anything else you've ever seen before?
It's really invasive.
Okay.
Kind of a major surgery, yeah.
This isn't some screw in teeth. This is orthopedic surgery of the jaw. And if your GP won't do orthopedic surgery and sends you to a hospital, I have to build, for me, for my standards, for the standards that we all our clinical team agree on this, it has to be in a specialist unit. And this specialist unit is built to the highest standards we can get it to, okay? To the standards that we want. This isn't, I haven't even announced this yet, but I'm going to tell you all, seeing as you're listening. We're moving from the current surgical hub. That surgical hub is 6,000 square feet, still not big enough. The new surgical hub, which is going to open month and a half, I think. I'm in the hands of the builders, so, that is 25,000 square feet. And it's going to have serious experts all under one roof, focused entirely on you. Space is essential. Now, to build one of these things costs about 5 to 8 million pounds at least. It's a serious investment and a serious amount of money, but it's 21D standards. Now I know, there are other people who are doing it in their practices. It must be great to do 4 jaws a month. What would you give if all we had to do was 4 jaws a month, not 400 jaws a month? To do industrial level deployment of this, then you need to think in, for me anyway, in hospital scales, in day center scales, not general practice scales. So you've been to your doctor, nice little building, and then you go to the hospital and they've got a surgical department just for surgery. They don't have surgery in any old room they've got, even though it's a hospital. It's the same principle. The surgical hub has to be a dedicated center that does the most invasive part of the journey. The bit before your assessment, you can have it done locally. It's non-invasive. Post-surgery, non-invasive. The surgery with 21D, non-negotiable. I'm sorry it inconveniences some people. I'll be blunt. Don't give a shit. I'm not negotiating the clinical standards for patients. Your safety is my primary concern, and I want surgical grade safety levels. It's not belittling anybody else. It's just, for me, having done this in every single environment for 27 years, nothing else will do but our surgical hub. Why Warrington? Good question. Well, I live here for starters. But more importantly, the senior surgical team are in and around Manchester, and we're not changing it. That's just how it's going to be. This new centre that's going to open is built with enough capacity to treat 18 patients a day. Sorry, what am I talking about? 36 patients, upper and lower jaw a day, 72 jaws a day is its capacity. It's 25,000 square feet. I went there the other day. Somebody said maybe we should get golf carts to drive around.
To move around.
I said, what's wrong with the steps? Get your steps in. Come to work, be healthy. Walk around, get your steps in. So that's why surgical hub, centralized surgery. It's not a new concept. Think of Moorfields Eye Hospital. Think of Alder Hey. These are specialist centers that do a specific thing, and people travel from everywhere to go to these. We're exactly the same. Look, there are general practices probably down the end of your street who might have a go. Go see them. If the travel is the thing, then it's travel versus expertise and environment. It's horses for courses. You pick whatever you want. I find it astonishing that people would complain to me about traveling to Warrington, but would happily get on a plane and fly to Turkey. That's fascinating. Go on, Gordon.
Why is it very rare in 21D to do one jaw?
Because almost nobody that reaches out to us needs it. You say very rare. I think we did 3 last week.
Yeah.
Okay. When I designed this protocol, one thing I learned in my own career, it's almost never the case where I have a perfectly aligned single jaw and I have another one that's a total disaster. And again, we're a no compromise environment. You can always go elsewhere and have the little gaps filled in. We will just give you what we have calculated as the optimal balance of compromises. And we've got a bit of a reputation. The reputation is people know that we treat right messes. And we have triage right at the beginning where people send their photos in. How many have I seen in 3.5 years that probably only need one jaw doing, and the lower jaw has at least 10 teeth in a row, all at the same level with no drifting and no sign of bone loss at all? 15, maybe 20. The rest of them, they need full mouth. But again, don't need to take my word for it. There are other people who go, oh, you only want the top jaw. I'll do that for you. Yeah, we won't. We're not doing what everybody else does. I mean, I've been doing this 27 years. Isabella's been doing this 15 years. Stratos been doing it 8 years. You know, we're talking serious amounts of experience here. You don't have to agree with us, but we're not going to negotiate. We're just going to go clinically, this is what you need. And you even send the screenshots. You even speak to them over the phone.
Yeah.
Send the screenshots and go, that is you. We're not making this stuff up. Mechanics needs to align. You need to think of your mouth as a gearbox. If half the gearbox has got bits of it missing, and then you just replace the other gears that are missing, is that gearbox ever going to work well?
No.
Right, I'll tell you what we're not doing. We're not doing the selective memory game. So I had this early in my career. So I would say to a patient, you need both jaws doing. They would go, no, I only want you to do one, that's all I can afford. And I would say, why don't you save up properly and get a whole conservatory built, other than half a conservatory, because you get half a conservatory, when it rains, you're still going to get wet. And they'd be adamant, and I was young and I was stupid, and I went, oh, all right then. Now, a year later, when they started having other problems, as in the alignments weren't correct and the teeth had to be wonky to compensate for the lower teeth to be wonky, all of a sudden, you told me that it was okay to have a single jaw. No, I didn't. I told you it needs to be stable. It is the mouth, not one row of teeth. And even one row of teeth isn't even 20% of the mouth. The mouth is the tongue, the cheek, the lips. Everything has to work in harmony, in correct architecture in relation to your skull. So, yeah, that's why the people that reach out to us, I mean, how many do we get a day? 50, 60?
Yeah.
Right, okay. The vast majority are in a really bad way. And we can't do everything. We can't do single implants for people. People get annoyed at us. Well, why aren't you doing single implants? We've got no bloody time. We've already got a 3.5 month waiting list. We've got no time. Have you got time to be designing single implant cases? We're inundated with people, and 21D is designed to help the people in the highest need. And the people with the highest need are the ones who need the full mouth rehab. So we will always prioritize them. Always. That's what it was built for. And that's who come to us. So it's not like we're being selective about this. There are other providers, they'll do single jaws for you. You know, if it's going to work. We'll know if it's going to work because we'll know from the analysis. How many have you seen that would work as a single jaw? Right. Okay. Sorry, that's wound me up slightly. I think blood pressure's slightly up.
Right.
It's still there. It's okay.
Question about water flosser. Is it okay to direct the water flosser on the prosthetic gum below the gap? Mine fell gritty.
Yes. You're not going to do any damage. You can use it on the outside of the face if you want. I don't care. It's gentle. Water stream is gentle. It's just a jet washer. Okay? Use it any way you like. Just don't go on the inside with it. Because my main thing is that plastic tip hitting fragile gum tissue. Because I've seen patients do all kinds of stuff over the years. Ulcers for no reason. So I was just poking it with this fork. What were you doing that for? Just stay on the outside. I don't care what you do. Just jet wash your face. I don't care. Just stay on the outside. You can't do any harm. It's only water. Right. Okay.
Right. That's a new one. How long is the first clinical assessment data valid for?
Good question. Mm-hmm. So some people who've got teeth waving about like that, probably about maximum, if we're lucky, 2 or 3 months. Sorry, 2 or 3 weeks, because they're so mobile. Generally, as a rule, you need to get this sorted out within 90 days. Why? When we take data, we're not treating anybody that's perfectly stable and healthy. They've almost all got stage 3 and stage 4 periodontal disease. Yeah. You're staring at the bone loss. How much bone loss are we looking at on average? 60, 70%?
Of course.
Imagine a nail in a block of wood, and the wood shrunk away. Does this nail become more mobile? Then I want you to think about the consequences of that. The consequences of that are really simple. We have digital data. We will only work with digital data. That is why our surgical process is so efficient, and you can get implants and fixed teeth like that in one surgical visit. If these teeth move by 1 millimetre, 1 millimetre, or in my world, 1,000 microns, it's the difference between your guide fitting perfectly and your guide not fitting perfectly. And that is the difference between your implants being delivered perfectly to where they should be and the implants not being perfectly where they should be. And that means your bar won't fit perfectly, your veneer won't fit perfectly, and we're just not going to entertain remakes. So somebody came in, had some digital data, and then buggered off, and then came back a year later. Sorry, no. Do you know what I mean? And we can't keep doing free assessments. The free assessment is the free assessment. It's once. So I had somebody who buggered off for 2 years and said, okay, I'm ready to have it now. Okay, you need another assessment. You've got to pay for it this time. Otherwise, it's not fair on other people. Why should I subsidize this person when other people get it? Because that's exactly what's happening, because I'm taking their money and making a special case for this person. So the general rule is maximum 90 days. My advice is don't come in for the FCA if you're not of the mindset to go forward. When you come in for the FCA, you're going to have data taken Most of it you've probably never experienced before, but it's non-invasive. Then they're going to give you an outline answer. Then it's going to go to Carol and her planning team. Some of you have already spoken to Carol on the phone, I know. They'll have sent you screenshots, and they'll talk to you about what we believe is the optimal balance of compromises, the art of the possible. Then it's a yay or nay, but don't come for the FCA if you have any doubt that you're going to go ahead with the treatment, not necessarily with us. We don't care who you have it with, because the data is not indefinitely valid. You understand? It's a bit like screening somebody for a disease and going, right, I'm not having anything done about it for 12 months. Okay, 12 months later, oh, I'm ready to have something done about it now. You have to have another screening, because it won't have stood still. Things will have progressed. And I'm sorry, I can't do those for free. I have to charge you. We built that into how we do things. And if you really want to pay for all that stuff, it's about 800 quid, including the planning. So don't come for the FCA if you're not going to. If you're not at that stage where you go, I really need to sort this out. It's not us pushing you, it's telling you the reality of digital data. And why digital data? It's the most accurate in the world. It's what allows us to do what we do day in, day out with such a high predictability level. We're not changing it. So we know everybody else talks a good talk about digital. Truly digital means you never need a plaster model. You never need, nothing goes to an external lab. You can literally just plan it live with them and their data. It has to be 100% perfect. Time destroys perfect, right? Yeah, so you just let the clock run, things will move. Whether you feel it or not is irrelevant. You didn't feel your own teeth moving, but they definitely moved. So it's normal. So 90 days is a short answer.
Yeah, thank you. How long is the actual surgery?
It depends. Some people, 2 hours, bang, done. Some people, 3 hours, done. Reason, them. How much starting disease, how much. So for example, on your scans, you can look at bone.
Yep.
And it looks okay. It's a scan. When we get in there, how many times have you seen Isabella say, oh, I need to scrape all this extra crap out?
That's
That adds time. Also, the bigger one, the much bigger one, patient cooperation. Some of you are not as cooperative as you make out. We know that. You're not. I hear a lot, oh yeah, it was, I was in the chair for 3.5 hours. They never mentioned the fact they went for 5 loo breaks and they started crying halfway through and everybody just stopped. Well, I was in the chair for 7 hours. No, you weren't. If we're going to talk about this, let's divulge all the facts, shall we? As to why it took so long. Yeah, some of it will have been us. But most of the time, most of it is the patient. I understand. We all understand this. We know how nervous it is to get in the chair, but don't underestimate how important your level of cooperation is to how long you sit in the chair. I don't know how many times I've said this. I wouldn't even take a patient in unless I was convinced that they were going to cooperate. When I was operating, you should all be thankful I'm not operating. When I was operating, I'd sit with them for an hour. I'd say, I am not going in there with you because I already know you're going to give me shit when I'm in there. And what's the point? I'd rather dance with you out here. Nobody's cut open over here. In there, you're cut open and I'm going to lose my rag if you don't cooperate, because your safety is why I'm getting angry. But it's understandable. We just, so the main reason that surgeries can take 4 hours, patient cooperation, and people get tired. People get tired at different rates. That's normal. Sometimes we have to stop and go, why don't you have 10 minutes? But it doesn't mean the surgery took that long. The surgery, the drilling to put the implants in, per jaw, 5-10 minutes. We're done. Go on.
The last one. Why no bone grafting?
Don't need it. When do you need it?
No, we don't need it.
Why would you use something if you don't need it? And also, bone grafting, you're normally using artificial materials, cow bone, plaster, this, that, the other, or you're using your own bone, which means you have to cut somewhere else open to take it from there? And also, what is the volume? And if you don't need it, why are you using it? What for? It's an additional strain on the body. The body now has to reanimate something. It has to bring something back from the dead. If you don't need it, I question why you use it. That's why. Are we done, Gordon, for this week?
Thank you, Vijay. Yes.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Gordon.
Thank
Thank you, guys. Thank you.